Hey, how's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'd like to share with you my experience and also, let's call it a review of this helmet in here that I've been using for 7,000 kilometers. I've used in all types of conditions. I paid for this helmet with my own money. This is really an honest review. There is no incentive for AIROH here they didn't pay me to say what I'm gonna say in here. There are some positives, some negatives, and I'm just gonna tell you as it is, so you can decide if this is the correct purchase for you or not. Now, this review is going to be based on a motorcyclist opinion. I'm not a shop, I'm not selling this helmet, and I'm just gonna tell you how is to use the helmet in a real life. If you want to know the data sheet, what material is made of and the fancy words, the marketing terms of the helmet, there are other channels that cover this. Here I'm just going to tell you how it is, how was my experience with this helmet, okay? Now, what is that I like and I don't like about this helmet? So first thing that I like is going to be the field of view. It is by far the best helmet that I have used in terms of the field of view. And I know that sounds like a small detail, but now that I got used to it, when I put a different helmet, I definitely feel that, especially if you're comparing to full face helmets for street riding. It's much more limiting. You can still ride, it's not a problem, but it's nice to have. I really like this. Here also looking at the visor, you're gonna have a pin lock. Now, the pin lock is not from AIROH, right? So pin lock is a separate company, and you just have the option to have it in here, and I think this is good. And it works as expected. So if you don't know what the pin lock is, it's just an additional layer that is a sheet, let's call it like this, a sheet that you attach on the inside of your visor, and it creates an air layer to reduce the chance of your visor fogging up when it's cold outside and then you're breathing inside and it starts to fog up. Does it work? Yes, but it's not perfect. But that's nothing to do with AIROH. That's for every helmet that I've used with pin lock. If the weather is too cold and you're not moving at the speed, you're just breathing inside, it's going to fog up eventually. But as soon as you start riding, then it goes away, and it is much better compared if you didn't have it. Another important point in here, some helmets, they don't have the option for you to just open a little bit, and that's not the case with this helmet. You can just crack it open so a little bit of air comes in, and that helps a lot to get the fog out of the helmet. So I really like that. One small complaint, but that's really a small detail. I prefer helmets where the visor you can open from the left side. Some manufacturers, they like to have the tab where you can pull up the visor in the center, and that's the case with this helmet. So it's right here in the center where you can lift up. It's not my preference. I prefer to have it on the left side, but that's small detail and you get used to it. Also here on the visor, I see I have a lot to talk about the visor. It's quite a thick visor, and I like this. I do not like helmets that have a very thin visor and it's very flimsy. Even when you're pulling up, the entire visor is just moving, it's just getting distorted. So this visor is quite thick, so it has a very positive feedback. When you're pulling it up, it does not distort the visor, and it goes up and down in a very positive way. So I like this. So I like the visor a lot. In general here, I'm satisfied. Talking about ventilation, I would say this is a helmet that is very suitable for summer riding. Now, it does not compare if you have goggles. If you have goggles, then I'm sure you're going to get a lot more ventilation. But you have a very good port here on the chin. You get a lot of air in here. And you also have a port here at the top where your forehead is. You have another port in here. One complaint that I have is that for you to open the opening mechanism of this port here on the forehead, it's not great. It's so small and I can barely feel it when I have my gloves on. And when I open or I close it, I don't feel a lot of difference in here. So most of the air is coming from this top, from this front port in here, and also because this helmet has a big chin area. So that's going back to the MX Enduro style helmet. A lot of helmets, you're not going to have a lot of space between your chin and the chin of the helmet. So just to give an idea, between my chin and the helmet chin, I have more than 2 fingers in here. So I could even fit almost 3 fingers. So there's plenty of space in here. If you're riding during winter, that could be a problem. Okay, that could definitely be a problem because air still gets inside, so it can get quite cold in here. Then it's better, you just have to protect your neck or have some kind of, how do you call it, balaclava, I don't know the name in here. So just the thing you put over your head to help with this. But if it's summertime, I think you're really going to like in terms of ventilation. Now, this helmet also has a peak, okay? And the peak, I think it looks nice for the style, so that's also very nice. There is the fact that you could use this as a sunshade, so that's kind of nice, but it's questionable there. I never had issues with helmets that didn't have a peak. That was never an issue, but I like the style, so I really like this. So for me, it's mostly the style, to be honest. I never had issues with this peak in here. The peak is removable, but it's not removable without a screwdriver. So you need to remove this cap, and then underneath this cap, you're gonna have one on each side, and also here at the top, and then you have to unscrew it, and then you remove the peak. Why would you remove the peak? Because of aerodynamics. So if you're riding at high speeds, above 100 kilometers per hour, then the air can catch in here, and it starts to put some pressure on your neck. This has happened to me, okay? Usually for me to go off-road, I need to take quite a bit of highway, and I simply do not bother on this one day of highway before I get to the off-road. I don't bother to remove the peak, but knowing what I know today, I probably should have done that, because I was riding for 7 hours on the highway, maintaining a speed between 100, 110 kilometers per hour, and at the end of these 7 hours, I definitely had a neck pain. So this was really, I could feel that this was pulling. To be fair, I have a CRF 300L, has no wind protection, so not the best environment. Looking back, for the next time, I would remove the peak if I'm going to be riding this long on a highway at higher speeds. Next point is going to be the sunshade. Okay, so it has an integrated sunshade, and I have a little bit of a complaint here. Does the sunshade work? Yes, it works, it does its job. And I like it because, again, I have prescription glasses, but the mechanisms to open, it's quite hard. Now, after all this time, it has become a little bit easier, but at the beginning, this was quite hard to open and close it. And it's a bit clunky. That's, I think, the best I can say. It's a bit clunky. If I don't really push it hard, when I'm lifting, removing the sun visor, and I'm lifting it up, if I don't do it really hard, it doesn't go all the way, it doesn't hide all the way, and it stays a little bit here up top. So then I have to close it and do it again. So you really have to go strong, and then it goes all the way. But if I just do it normal, see, it always stops on the same place and it doesn't retract all the way. To remove the visor, you need an Allen key. So you cannot, some helmets, they have the option that you can remove the visor and it's already integrated. You don't need additional tools to do that. For this one you need, and I don't like. Weight, okay, that's a big topic, and that's one that I'm gonna say that I disagree a little bit with a lot of reviews online. There are some channels that they are very picky about 100 grams, 200 grams on the helmet. I think this helmet is about 1.4 kilos or 1,400 grams. So it's not the lightest, it's not the heaviest helmet, but I don't care that much. I never bought a helmet that I felt it was heavy, that my neck was hurting because the helmet was heavy. Never had this happen with me. What I care more is about aerodynamics. So I have no complaints about the weight, but keep in mind what I told you, because of the peak, at higher speeds, in my case, I have no wind protection, that I felt. But after, when I was out of the highway, I had no issues whatsoever with the weight. Build quality and comfort. Okay, so now here's mainly looking on the inside of the helmet. It is not the highest quality helmet that I've ever owned. So I would say that the highest quality just felt like premium helmet that I've ever used. It was a Shoei. I don't remember here the model. I'll just put it here on the screen. But that helmet really felt premium, and the lining material felt nicer than this one. The padding material felt nicer than this one. At the same time, it's not bad. Okay, so it does not feel cheap, but also it doesn't feel as premium as the Shoei helmet. But then I have to take in consideration the price, because this Shoei helmet I paid more than 500 euros, so that's more than $500, and you can get this helmet for about 250 euros, $250, so that's less than half the price. So for what you pay for, it's a great value. So it's really a good value for what you're getting. There's another topic that a lot of reviewers, they are very picky about it, and this is the noise level of the helmet. So is it a quiet helmet? No, it's not a quiet helmet, but I've never had a helmet that was quiet enough that I didn't have to use earplugs. I always ride with earplugs, and to be honest, I wouldn't get caught up with this. I mean, that's only my opinion. Do it the way you want. But a quiet helmet, let's say a Schubert, I know there's some Schubert C6, I don't remember the model here, that a lot of their advertising is around being a very quiet helmet. But even being a very quiet helmet, you still need to use earplugs. And I would be happy, or really happy, if there was a helmet that it was so quiet that I didn't have to use earplugs. That for me, it's a big plus. But I don't think that such helmet exists. So by the time I put the earplugs, I'm totally fine with it. And with the topic of safety, I see two ways here. One, there's a lot of the reputation of the company. For instance, AIROH, most riders associate AIROH with being one of the safest helmet manufacturers in the world. Okay, so they have this reputation. And then apart from the reputation, you have the norms. So you need the helmet manufacturers, they have to get their helmets approved. This helmet has the approval. It's not the latest here in the European Union. Now there's already, since I think last year, a new regulation. This helmet does not comply with the latest regulation, complies with the previous one, just like a lot of helmets. So that's what I have to go for. It is a helmet from an Italian company. I think they have a good reputation, and it complies not with the latest standard, but with the previous one. This is the AIROH Commander, the version 1. Now, there is already the version 2, and on the version 2, if I'm not mistaken, they already comply with the latest regulation, so I would be excited to try this, the new version of this helmet. So having said all of this, was it a good purchase? Would I buy it again? I think that's what it comes down to. Would I buy it again, and would I recommend to other riders? Yes, I think it is good value for the money that you pay for 250 euro, $250 more or less. I think it's a very good helmet. It has a lot of features. It's comfortable enough for me. You have to account for the shape of your head. It is not the most premium helmet I have used, but when I put the price into the equation, I'm really happy with it. It has not fallen apart. It's still a helmet that I can still use. I don't know for how long more, but I'm heading out to my 3rd year, and it's still holding its shape. So if after watching this video you still have questions about it, you can just leave a comment in here and I'll reply to you. I read every single comment. That's it. Hope you enjoyed, and I see you on the next video. Ride safe. Bye bye.